or like probably haven't heard of before. What's up guys, Frankie here. Bold title that'll be hard to live up to, but I really did think long and hard, and researched of course, to find tips and secrets of the financially free that I rarely discuss or have never covered here on the channel. They may not all be 100% new to you, but I think most of you watching will discover 3 or 4 that speak to you and spark an idea or action that's going to help you on your journey to financial independence. On that journey, it's critically important to think outside of the box. Financial creativity is hugely underrated. I wrote an entire book filled with 101 money hacks, so you better believe I'm always looking for a new tip, strategy, or idea when it comes to managing money in the quest for financial freedom, and today is no exception. Like this video if I earn it by the end and you learn something new, subscribe so we can hang out more often. Let's get right to it. And I've been on a mindset kick the last few months or so let's start there with number 1, look at your money positively. By the way, this one isn't exclusively for those in debt or lower income earners. Even those that make a lot of money often feel guilt or shame about it. The reality is money is something we often desperately desire, fear, or feel bad about one way or another. But money is not just a means to an end or something that you have to deal with. Money is a necessity, just like food and water. It's a tool to help you get done what you want to accomplish or get to where you want to go. Money equals opportunity, it's access, it's energy, it's less stress, and eventually money can equal freedom from fear or worry if you have the right attitude and even the right conversations about it. Otherwise, you might end up subconsciously sabotaging your chances of making it or keeping it. Number 2, have a spending dopamine detox. And this is really just a fancy way of saying have a no spend week. Alternatively, see how long you can go on an allowance if $0 for 7 days is too constrictive. And I'm not talking about your rent or mortgage or bills, obviously, but gas, eating out, non-essential spending, fun money, even groceries. Get creative meal-wise with what you have in the pantry versus rushing straight to the store to stock up. Ride your bike or walk to get around town. Avoid unnecessary shopping and even those sale emails that you get daily. So click and delete those. Say no to happy hour or pivot it to home. You get the idea. Start a streak or set a low allowance this week or this month to practice frugality and saying no. So gamify your savings and reward yourself by sending the money that you said no to spending to savings, because pay yourself first. Number 3, get your housing under 20% of your income and your transportation under 10%. The average American spends 37% of their income on housing. People spend an average of 19% of their income on transportation. That's 46% of people's budgets gone on just those 2 expenses. Aim to get those 2 combined to just 25%. It'll require creativity to get there, but that's the theme of this video today. Obviously, you can't do this ASAP unless you actually just ditch your car like I did 4 years ago, but find out how much you spend on those 2 important categories and reflect on how you can reduce one or the other or both dramatically in this next year. Next, you've heard of developing a stream of passive income, I'm sure, but I'm here to say number 4, develop multiple streams of passive income. Why multiple streams? Because you are financially free when your passive income exceeds your annual expenses, regardless of your age or financial situation. Plus, there are dozens of passive income stream opportunities for you to explore. So take many shots on goal to increase your opportunities to score. You can't score a goal if you don't take a shot. It's the same thing with soccer or hockey or basketball. LeBron James never hesitates to take a shot. He misses many of them, 4th most misses all time, but he just became the 2nd highest leading scorer all time because he continued to shoot. Plus, practice makes perfect. When I first learned about passive income, it was a total game changer. And when I started earning from more than one stream of passive income, it was incredibly satisfying, addicting, and helpful in my pursuit of my huge financial goals. So I challenge you to do the same. Number 5, focus on moving from the middle class to the investor class. Your goal should be to go from someone who makes money from labor, trading your time for money, to someone who makes money from money. To make money with money, you can obviously invest in the stock market, you can invest in real estate, you can invest in a business, or even invest in yourself. Take a course, learn, then execute with passion so that you can work smarter, not harder in life. Number 6, mind the gap. I'm talking about the difference between what you earn and what you spend. try to focus on increasing that gap. And instead of budgeting and tracking meticulously to do this, I set a plan to save half of my income at the beginning of the year. I wrote a whole book about saving half that you can find on Amazon. So at the beginning of the year, again, I decide what I need to save and invest to get to 50%. Then I automate that plan as much as I can. That way, money never hits my account to tempt me to spend it. And the money in my account is therefore mine to spend. It's relatively simple and mostly hands-off once you set it up. Determine your savings rate and create your plan to mind the gap some more. If you're at 5% savings like most Americans, aim to increase it to, let's say, 15% in the next year and increase it each year a little bit after that. Number 7, get sleep and exercise. You probably didn't see this one coming and might not be sure of how it impacts your finances, but here's the thing. You make poor decisions when you get poor sleep. And exercise is great for your health and mind in the same way. The only downside is you'll probably live longer, thus you'll need more money to retire so it'll last longer, sarcasm intended. That would actually be a fantastic problem to have. Number 8, negotiate everything. Your salary, the price at the food stand at the farmer's market, requests to buy the floor model in the store, your insurance rates or coverage, your credit card interest rate. Seriously, call them and ask them to lower it. It's actually worked for me in the past. Now, don't be a jerk, but far more things are negotiable than people think. Even what projects you work on at work and how much time you get off. Number 9, evaluate purchases on a cost by use basis. I actually do this often. When it comes to shopping for clothes, this might mean buying quality items instead of fast fashion that isn't gonna last long and need to be replaced. I even try to do the same thing when it comes to the grocery store. It can be super tempting to grab the bigger value pack. I'm looking at you, Costco, but it doesn't always make sense, especially if you end up with anything extra that could potentially spoil. You can apply this to technology, kitchen gadgets, or even records or board games. Sure, it can be fun to take a risk on a board game that you've never played before, but I'd rather go with the one that has more replay value and also great reviews that mention it being a go-to on game night. That was weirdly specific, but I like board games, okay? And if you do too, recommend one to me that you play over and over again. For me, that is Quirkle and Monopoly Deal. Have you played those? Kind of got off track there. Number 10, use your emergency money. For those that actually do sock away a few hundred or a few $1,000s towards an emergency fund, they often latch onto this idea that they cannot touch it no matter what. They think they'd feel too much shame or guilt to use it. They're used to seeing a certain number in that bank account. But when an emergency arises, like let's say needing a new water heater or having to grab a last minute flight because of a family emergency, don't charge these unexpected expenses on a credit card and rack up debt. You'd be creating a second problem by putting yourself in a financial hole. You saved that money for a reason, to help yourself when you're in need. So do yourself a favor and use it so that you don't make a bad situation worse. Speaking of credit card debt, number 11, make micropayments towards your credit cards and do so often. For some reason, some people have a false belief that you can only make one credit card payment a month when the bill comes. I typically make 4 or 5 smaller payments each month. This is an especially useful strategy if you're digging yourself out of debt, but I still use it to help keep my credit card balances all to zero as often as I can, and it helps me stay on top of my charges since I log in a couple of times a week to check in. But there are also several less than obvious benefits to doing this. First, it can help lower your interest payment. Most issuers calculate interest based on your average daily balance during the month. You'll lower your average balance by making smaller payments during the month. Plus, it can actually help you raise your credit score. By making more smaller payments throughout the month, you'll be avoiding late payments and using slightly less of your available credit, both of which are important factors in increasing your credit score. And finally, number 12, consider hiring a financial coach instead of a financial planner. According to the Consumer Financial Bureau, a financial coach is a trained professional who collaborates with and guides their clients to reach their financial goals. The process is personalized and non-judgmental. Financial coaches provide support, encouragement, accountability, and tools to help people make informed decisions. I like to think of a financial coach as a thought partner, a cheerleader, and a confidant that you trust with no hidden agenda. Marketing and the media tend to overcomplicate personal finance, making it seem essential that you seek out a financial advisor or planner. But the reality is managing your money doesn't need to be complicated. Most people simply need to focus on spending less than they earn, getting out of debt, creating goals, and investing consistently. And that's where a financial coach can come into play. Humans are creatures of habit, so focus on building good habits. Hopefully something or some things on this list stood out to you that helps you build better habits. If so, do let me know. What did you learn, or what can you do better that I discussed today? I always love hearing from you, and I especially love hearing about your financial wins. So please feel free to share a tip that you utilize or a recent financial win. And because you got to the end, I actually have something fun that I wanted to share, or rather tease, I guess. Less than 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be sharing something really cool and exciting that I think you're gonna want to know about. It's gonna help you scale your wealth tremendously. It's not a new book or course, but it's a resource you absolutely don't want to miss. So subscribe and ring the bell to make sure you're notified. Any guesses? If you guess right, I'll give it to you for free, I think. Yeah, sure. Free if you guess my upcoming surprise. My name is Frankie. Have an awesome week or weekend ahead, and I'll see you next week on the next one. And if you enjoyed these tips today, I pulled together 22 more tips earlier this year, so give this one a watch next. It's gonna show you how to take simple frugality to the bank, literally. See ya.